So, sir, my first question to you is, how has the story generation process been impacted by COVID 19? And how long lasting do you think this change will be? Is it something that you think will go back to the previous ways once COVID 19 is no longer active?
See, what I feel that COVID is here to stay, right? So, well, we have seen that COVID-19 is a human story. It's about health, it's about economics and social justice. I was infected twice with COVID-19, lost my father-in-law, but in the process, I've learned so many things because once you're infected, you're in the hospital, you also understand, how the virus works. It plays with your mind, it plays with your body, and it changes everything outlook because I was after 4 or 5 days that cytonic storm came in and I was like really in the nights I was hallucinating in the hospital. So it plays you with mind also. But coming back to work, uh, once I was infected for the first time in September last year while doing a story on oxygen crisis and all. After that, I realized the importance of data also, because earlier government used to give us, health bulletin, and if you look at closely at those numbers, we realize there's a big miss. So we started data digging, and one of the finest examples which I feel is Dainik Bhaskar. They are doing it brilliantly. Uh, why I'm stressing on that part? Because we have seen, new positions coming up. Because as this topic is all about, the future of journalism after COVID, like independent data journalists, data editors, they are doing nothing but mining the data. Well, of course, journalism is all about human interest and stories around human interest. But as I said, and I think my colleagues can dwell on it, is about the importance of data.
So, what do you think?
Hi. I very much agree from Mr. Anurag. Lot many changes have taken place. As I have been into print media, I've never worked for TV. So what I have learned and what I have perceived is that the work style has completely changed. If I give you example how I have worked, uh, I've been covering sports, education, beats like aviation, railways, but in past 1.5 years, my 90% of the stories were on COVID. That means health beat. I have never covered health. So it is equally challenging for journalists also. I have come from a background, after 17 years of working, I have been covering health beat. I have never covered health. So this is the challenge, first challenge. Second, as my colleague has said, the data. The second part is that you need to put accurate data. You need to cross-check it. How to cross-check it? Everything is closed. Government is silent. So you have to be very cautious while writing, and it is, I think it is more challenging for the TV rather than the print media, because they have to keep on telecasting, broadcasting, everything. We have entire day to cross-check it. But that's the same case with TV media. So it is really changing, and the way it has changed, I have, in fact, it is a good experience for me. I'm really sorry that you were infected twice, and I was not infected. I'm fortunate enough.
That's great.
Touch wood. But my perception is that students need to learn. Students now, they have to come out from the books. Academics are there, earlier also academics, but the practical knowledge they should learn by reading. And I have seen lot many students, in fact, lot many students from this university and other university have been coming for this internship. And what I have noticed that they somewhere have stopped reading. If you don't read, and newspaper is the best media, I think. If you read, because if you read a book, you'll understand the language or the understanding or the mindset of an individual. But if you read a page, suppose front page of a newspaper, you'll get stories from 10 different reporters, 10 different minds, 10 different angles. So whether COVID is there or not, if you keep on reading, it will help you a lot. You can understand how to write. You can understand what kind of stories, because the major challenge I was facing that all colleges are closed, all schools are closed, railways were closed, aviation was closed, and sports were closed. What to write? Means it was like, should I go back home? Because if you don't have any story, the editor would ask me, "Okay, come on, you are not writing any story." That was the challenge. And during that challenge, you need to learn a lot how to write stories. That's the basic change that I have learned from this thing.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
We have Mr. Hemendra Sharma joining us on Zoom. And sir, I would like to pose the same question to you.
Well, very good morning to all of you. I'm really privileged and honored to be part of this panel discussion. And to start with, how things would change post-COVID. So we have a short-term challenge in front of us. In the long term, as Dr. Manmohan Singh said, we are all dead. So in the short term, the world has changed. Everything has changed. Nothing remains the same. We are still not out of COVID. A third wave is still there coming in Africa. We suspect that it could come here as well. We are preparing for that. But things are not going to be the same. That's what we anticipate. So right now, the immediate challenge for us is because things have changed. How things have changed is that you're not meeting people. You're not going out talking to people. There are people, the interested parties, the stakeholders. They're telling you things, and we sort of have become handout reporters. Or, for example, the police say something. We don't have the time and the space and because of the circumstances to go and verify or get the other side. So most of the time, what's happening right now we see is that whatever the political party is telling you, that's coming out as the gospel truth. The police is saying something. That's happening in UP also. The police say something that this has happened. So all of us tend to agree to it. What the police is saying is correct, and no one is questioning that. So it's the police voice that is getting amplified rather than the voice of the person who is the victim. So the immediate challenge for all of us is to realize this problem and then be empathetic towards the real, the subject or the person who's getting impacted or affected the most. So all of us in television and newspapers and also digital platforms, we have seen that all of us have gone out and reported stories of people when they were migrating, they didn't have clothes, they didn't have food. All of us were doing it at the same time. And now during the present circumstances also, there are, I remember Anurag, all of us reporting stories from crematoriums when no one was talking about the deaths, the number of people who had died in Madhya Pradesh. So there is a lot of risk involved in all that. So keeping in mind that we have to live to tell the story the other day as well. So we have to keep ourselves safe. That's the immediate challenge, and try to ensure that we don't become enablers or we don't amplify the voice of those who are ruling us, rather than we should be trying to amplify and represent the voice of those people who actually are being ruled or the ones who are getting affected. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. My next question to all of you is, what technological innovations have been helping you in the past year of reporting, which has been extremely challenging?
See, the whole information ecosystem has changed completely. Like, as I said, we are more data-driven. In Western world, and I think in few of the other countries, I have heard that they are using artificial intelligence. We have seen some, I was reading it in newspapers or some websites that they're using, robots as news anchors. So thankfully in India we don't have as of now. But as I said again and again, it's more or less more data driven. Obviously, we cannot discount on, human stories and things around, the biggest humanitarian crisis in this time of pandemic. But as Hemendra Bhai was telling us that we used to go, because there's we dwell on what the government is saying, but then we also dig our own, we have our own system where we cross-check, cross-verify. But because of the pandemic, because of the lockdown, we face some certain restrictions, in accessing, in going and meeting people. So where the data will come from? I think Ramendra will also agree on that part, that, earlier we used to follow a beat system, but especially in newspapers, because in a bureau for a national news channel, you have to do everything. And now, after this convergence came in, we are writing for the web, we are doing stories for the TV, we are writing for the social media, for Hindi, English, whatever. So it's a new challenge because while I was reporting in Bombay for NDTV, I was doing only sports and High Court. But after coming to a bureau, politics, agrarian crisis, sports, whatever is, from MP and Chhattisgarh, I'm responsible. And for 14 crore people, you have only one reporter and one camera person. So at the same time, it's important in journalism that what you're not covering, it's not only about what you're covering, but what you're not covering, what you're not supposed to cover. Because daily the newspapers are full of stories. Everywhere there are stories. In every district there are some, something or other happening. But kya jayega, that is the most important thing. And especially, as I said, during this pandemic when, people are scared to meet. So if you don't meet people, how are you going to get the stories? How are you going to get the data? So that was the biggest challenge which we faced. But now we have started in our own ways how to dig the data, how to, like a few days back I did a story on hospitals coming up in Madhya Pradesh, in capital Bhopal. In past 1 year, we have around 503 hospitals in in Bhopal, but out of which 212 were opened only in the last year. So that becomes opportunity in adversity because the government is finding it difficult to get 5,000 doctors, but here you have 212 hospitals, nursing homes, path labs, and they have everything, at least on papers. And that data we got it through the government website only. So that is important, how to dig the data using the tools. So that will, in coming days also, that will be the most important thing which I feel.
When I first asked, you have to work from home, I was completely blank. How would a journalist work from home? So I'll tell you my first day experience. I got up in the morning and there was a online meeting, like the routine meeting we used to have in the morning. And I told my editors the story that I'm working in the day. After that, I was like, how to write? Because I cannot move out. Everything is closed. I had to take leave on that day because I was not prepared. Then I spoke to my couple of friends, even in my family. I think my job is in trouble because if I have to work like this, I cannot work like this. As you have asked, what kind of technology changes, what new innovations have come up? I have never used mobile to write 400-word story. That was the day when my editor asked me, you have to file this story. And I was out of hope. Office was closed and I was carrying only mobile. And that day I realized, now this is the new normal. This is the way you have to work now. And while filing that story, I did a lot of mistakes because I was not acclimatized for that situation. So after filing the story, it took almost 1.5 hours because while writing 400 words in a mail, you can understand means you have to delete it, you have to rewrite it, you have to do a lot of exercise. And I spoke to my editor. He said, you have done a fabulous story. So that day I realized, no, that now you have to do this kind of journalism. So you can't carry laptop everywhere. So I'm telling you, most of the stories I've been doing through my mobile only. So that's a new normal. Second thing, these online classes, online academics, online journalism have come a lot. So you have to understand it. You cannot, earlier it was like, okay, if my editor asked me, where are you? I said, okay, I'm on some assignment. Though I have already done the story, I am sitting at home. But right now this is not possible. He can ask me, where are you standing? Give me a video call. That's a new thing that you have to face. So print media has become almost like a TV media now. Like he said, he has to write for web, he has to write for Hindi also, he has to write for English also, different languages. The same is happening with the print media also. We have to shoot one-liners on Twitter, on Facebook, because these are the medias through which you can connect with the people, because the paper will be coming next day. by that time you can't wait for the story. So these are the new things that has been developed, and these are things available, and new things are also coming up.
Mr. Hemendra, your thoughts on
Well,
this?
what is being said and what is being discussed. Actually, technology has changed a lot. I mean, over the past few years, it started changing during the early 2000, but gradually it's happening, and now everything is on the World Wide Web. Internet is the main component nowadays. So, what has happened is that the time has period has reduced. So, the time when you do a story and the time when you file a story, there's hardly any time in between. So the technology advancements that have come, because we are all the time on social media network sites, news is now being fed by social media apps, for example, Twitter and WhatsApp. They are the real feeders. So because of technology, you have that access to that information in a very fast, I mean, the time taken is very less, but at the same time, the stress that is accompanied with it and the responsibility of verifying a particular news or whatever within a very short period of time, because of the competition, is very high. And once that is there, the chances of committing mistakes is also there, and we see there are a lot of mistakes happening because of this competition, and at times they are not very good as well. So that thing has happened, but at the same time, this is never going to get reversed. It's going to change further. I mean, technology is never going to stop. Advancement in technology is never going to stop. So we have to gel and prepare ourselves for the future. And these days, as was mentioned by Anurag also, multitasking is the norm. You have to do a television script. You have to write for online websites. You have to do a story for a newspaper. At the same time, you have to do a piece for a radio, because these days you have all these platforms in one organization, and that's the way you maximize output from a particular resource. So that is a challenge. So you have to live to that, and at the same time, I think it's for the good of all of us that we have seen such huge technology advancements. Otherwise, like I started working in 1996, 97, and we used to get our story listed in the evening in our newspaper, and next day morning we used to go out for the shoot, and next day evening when we used to come back, there was a totally different story. It was till the time we returned back to our newspaper office the next day evening, our news editor didn't have any idea what we were filing. These days it has to be that way second. So that's really good for all of us and for all those who consume the news that we feed them.
Thank you, sir. One more question that I would like to ask all of you is, what sort of a news environment do you think that new journalists will be stepping into in the coming years?
The resources are hit hard. I mean, we have to accept this, and lots of new projects are on hold. We are facing this because I'm doing everything on my phone, like shooting. That is all about mobile journalism. That is Mojo. Basic edits, sending stories. As Ravindra pointed out, that we are writing on mobile phone because everywhere we cannot carry our laptops, especially with television. As you're going out, you're doing lives and all. So you're doing this. Mobile is everything for you. So the moment you are stepping out, because I have seen in that AV, students shooting with nice cameras and editing and all. But especially with the changing technology, this mobile phone is everything. So you have to learn the tricks, how to edit over your mobile phone, how to write fast using this mobile phone, and how to shoot. The best thing about technology that it keeps on changing. But as of now, we have to accept this reality that this pandemic has hit us hard, and especially the news organizations are small as compared to other industries. So I think, as I pointed out, the data, as I said, that more people are coming out in the field of data. So if you guys can dig data more efficiently, I think you are an asset to any organization. And secondly, how to create stories if you are mobile. Because earlier we used to have this luxury when I started working in 98, 99 in a newspaper called Free Press. So at that time we used to have even those computer screens where I think now if I remember that looks like a fossil to me, that एक अगर आपने वाई और एन में गलत कर दिया तो स्टोरी चली जाती थी. एंड देन वी हैव सीन थिंग्स चेंजिंग बिकॉज आई ऑल्सो वर्क फॉर ऑल इंडिया रेडियो इन 2002. That time we used to carry that spool, linear और non-linear में बहुत वो होता था. Then I moved to PTI. I did work for a news agency. That time also technology आ रही थी, कुछ नई चीज़ें, नए innovations हो रहे थे. And after that I moved to TV. So for the past 15-17 years it's been TV. और बीच में थोड़ा BBC वगैरह move किया था, तो वहाँ भी I have seen that how they're working. I mean, especially with the convergence coming in with the website, radio, as Heminder Bhai also pointed out, and the television channel. So you have to really be mobile. That's my mantra.
If I would say for any print journalist, two things are important. First, you need to have a lot of legwork. You have to keep on moving a lot when you start your career. And second is writing. Writing is still there, but I think legwork has been reduced. Most of the stories have become tabletop stories now, because when this pandemic hit the country, you can't move out. You have to, just like Anurag ji has said, we are more data driven now. We have to mine, or we have to dig out stories from those data only. So in this way, this writing, the way of the journalists have been writing is little changed. Though I belong to an old school of thought, because when I started my career from HT, my editor used to tell me one thing: today, as much as you move out, one fine day, you'll be very relaxing in your career. I can remember these words from him, and I realized this when this pandemic hit, that I have got sources all over in my beats or in other beats also. So despite being at home, I could file a lot of stories. So the legwork has been reduced. Second, after this social media has come up, lot many stories are coming from that background also. Like if someone has put some information on social media, you have to recheck it, but you can get the angle from there. If someone has tweeted something, if someone has put something on Facebook, you can find a story from out of it. So that's the way the news environment has been changed, and it is good. Somewhere it is good, because you can now more focus on writing and reading. Because when you are not moving out, when you are having less legwork, you can focus on more, you can read more and more. That's why I think this news environment has been changed.
Mendra sir, what are your thoughts?
The question that what kind of an environment would coming students land up in is really very interesting. And I think that's where JLU and all other journalism schools have a very crucial and important role to play. And agreeing totally with what the panel has already said and taking it a little further, I would like to suggest that we are living in times when attempts are being made to indoctrinate particularly journalists at a very young stage, incubation stage. So that's happening in journalism schools as well, also in newspaper and television stations. So there would be attempts, and these attempts would, I mean, there are these troll armies, there are IT cells, and there is a lot of attempt being made to set up the agenda. So what we have to ensure is to try and tell all people who are involved in this process that let's resist the temptation of being a propaganda tool. And this is where the present day journalism schools have a very important role to play, as I said earlier, because you have to teach our students, we have to ensure and tell them that let's not get indoctrinated by these political ideology, left, right, center, whatever. Let's just question us. And I would like to tell that here on record about Anurag, because I've seen him work personally, and he's one guy who would spare none. One day he's being called a rightist, the other day he's being called a leftist. So that's the beauty of being objective and questioning everyone. So I think that is what we have to teach our students, and that is what has to be ensured. And because that is the kind of environment they're actually going to land up in, because there are going to be attempts to indoctrinate them.
Thank you so much, sir. With this, we come to the end for our panel discussion, and I'd like to thank all of our panelists for their really insightful and thought-provoking comments.